Hello again, William. I'm going to make some slightly different necklace cords today. I'm going to show you how to do that. This lace is very fine. It's 2 millimeters by like 0.5 millimeters or 0.6. So it's a little bit more difficult to work with, and I'm going to show you a little bit of an easier way to do it that I've kind of developed, I guess, but I'm sure other people have done it. So these are going to be 16 inches long, and these you can measure times 1.5 the length. So that would be 24 inches, but let's just go ahead and make it 25 to be sure. And I'm going to show you a different way that I did in the other one where I doubled the length of it and looped it. I'm not going to do that with these. I'll show you can do it either way, it doesn't really matter. But so I'm going to cut 8 strands. This is going to be an 8-strand braid. Dang it. So just set down the floor. 25. 25. So as I'm doing this, I'm inspecting the lace to make sure there's not any major flaws. A tiny, a couple small ones is okay. That shows that it's a handmade item, but some really bad ones, we don't want to put those in there. And also, if there's a real bad cut, there's a good chance the lace might break, so you want to avoid those. See, I think that's 1, 2, 3, one more. Yeah, I try to make this lace as perfect as possible, but sometimes some parts are just unavoidable, and it's easier to just cut them out of your lace or work with them. But a lot of these like tinier flaws like this, that's okay, and that'll be okay. So this I'm gonna make like a little yoke here with tape. Tape like that, stick it on both sides, and just line up your strands here. Okay. One nice thing about using the tape like this is you can write on the tape what this actually is for whatever purposes. Make it a little bit easier on them. So I'm just going to lock it into the vise. Okay. I'm going to take my almost out of this stuff. I just ordered more. It should be here tomorrow. Get your laces nice and lubed up. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna grab my stool. This is a better height. Okay. So this is pretty much how you would start off a whip coming off of a yoke too. See the 2 middle strands? I'm gonna take the right one and go over the left one. Then these two, I'm going to do the same thing with these two. I'm not sure if this is how you do it, but this is a good way to start your yoke, I'm sure. This is probably how you do it. And then that one can just go under. See how they this one's going to go over the one to the left, just like the set on the right. And over, under, over, under. Over, under, over, under. These fine strands are a little bit harder to work with. Okay, so it's looking like that. Now I'm just going to go doing the round plait. I'm just going to go bring it around the bottom and go under 2 over 2. So it's just the under 2 over 2 sequence. Keep it pretty loose right here until get down a little bit more. Okay, so when I first started doing these, it was very frustrating because I just left the center completely hollow, and I've tried it several different ways, and I kind of like told the guy, I was like, you know, you don't really get a very nice braid if you just do a hollow braid. And so I developed this other way where you take this little metal rod here. This is just like a die dauber that I've cut the tip off. Just stick it in there, and then going back in, pull your strands tight around it. Okay. And then again. Okay, and now continue with the under 2 over 2. Try not to let this thing fall out right here. If it does, you can just stick it back in. Like that, yeah. It's going to stay in there a minute once it kind of like Chinese finger traps it in there. So again, I'm kind of putting about the same amount of pressure I did on those other ones, where it's really only about 1 to 2 pounds of pressure, not too much. These strands are very fine. If you pull them too hard, they might break. And you don't want that, especially once you get halfway down, because unlike a whip, you can't just glue the strands back together, not with these, unfortunately. Okay. So now it's, my little wire here is actually staying in there pretty good, but so what I typically do is I just plait down to this loop here and then just pull it back a little bit as I go. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And you don't have to tie this off or bind it right there just yet. You can do that once you've actually braided the whole cord. Not like the other one, like where you have to like push up on this. You don't have to do that because there's no core and we don't have to worry about concealing it. But what this does, like plaiting over this stiff little wire, like keeps it really even. But if I were to do this without the wire, it's really hard to like pull the strands like perfectly tight when there's no core. It's incredibly frustrating. So I much prefer this way of doing it, and I think it's quicker too. I can crank these out pretty quickly because it's just under 2/2 sequence. It would be just as quick probably going under 1/1 and 4/flat. So yeah, you get down to here and then just pull it back just to, a little bit, 1/2 inch or so. And then flat some more. So when we are finished with this and we roll it, it actually compresses it quite a bit more, and it will be a lot more thinner than it is right there. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish plaiting this, and then I'll make another little video of the rolling process, which is pretty much the same as rolling anything, but I'll just go ahead and do that anyways. So there you have it.